Hey there, everybody. This is Pastor Rick, Broadman Baptist Church, and this is the Broadman Word for July 6, 2026. Sorry, it has been so long since I've gotten one of these done. I have been busy. And so I have sadly not scheduled appropriately to get these done, but back on the horse now, and hopefully we won't be missing like we have in the past. So today I want to talk to you about Psalms 68:6, but the general concept here is Christ's believers as a family. God is the father of that family, and then wanting to welcome others into the family. So let's go ahead and read 68:6. It says, God sets the lonely in families. He leads out the prisoners with singing, but the rebellious live in a sun-scorched land. So here we have a scene of God being the father of this massive family, and him letting everybody who desires to believe or be part of the family in. So he sets the lonely, those who are out in the darkness, out in the wilderness, out there, not knowing the truth, not believing in the crucifixion and resurrection of Christ and the wonderful salvation through God's grace that we receive by that. And so it's kind of like the gathering of a family photo book. It starts off really small with just a couple of people, then a child comes along, maybe more children, and then brothers and sisters start adding kids in, and there's holiday events, anniversaries, birthdays, all kinds of celebrations, sports achievements, and this book just keeps getting larger and larger with more and more people, and then as time goes on, it becomes quite large, and you need extra volumes, and it's just this increasingly beautiful thing of this family just growing and celebrating and being together and having moments and wanting to memorialize those moments. And so in God's kingdom, the inclusion of new people, the lonely, as is described, is always a significant blessing. This scripture says that God sets the lonely in families, of course, his family, and we're the members of that family, so we're to be welcoming. It's communicated in the context of a family because God, we know, is the father to the fatherless, the defender of widows, the provider, the creator of all. So he's the father figure, the head of the family. And so in this context, we know that he brings in the lonely, the orphans, if you will, that have chosen darkness to this point. And so his heart then is to be of that, to welcome those who might be alone or ashamed or who might be accused of things. And he takes all of that and makes it clean before him, and the individual never has to worry about that again. And then on top of that cleaning, that process, that grace, the forgiveness by his grace is extended and makes the person a member of the family. His heart is to welcome all of those. And then we also hear that he leads the prisoners out with singing. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to a prison. I went to one in my life, not as an occupant, thankfully, but I've only been to one in my life, and I tell you what, there was enough there to let me know that there's not too much singing going on. And so the illustration then is being part of God's family is being released from that prison, causing somebody to come to sing. He leads those out of prison, the bondage of the world, the bondage of their past sins, behavior, their mistrust, their disbelief, their mocking of God all goes away. What an amazing thing that can happen. As believers, we've all been adopted into God's family. We were all on the outside looking in at one point. We were all those mockers and scoffers and prisoners in our in our own construct, which is really the saddest thing of it all. People design their own prison, and quite often, too often, choose to live in it, where they could be let out and could be singing with the rest of us. So we're commissioned then to share this open invitation with others. We are, per Galatians 4:5, adopted into God's family. And then per Paul's writing in 2 Corinthians 5:20, we are to share the invitation to God's family always. That should be our general first purpose, is to be folks that are inviting to God's family. And as we do that, we add people, and just like the family photo book, it's more and more precious, more and more beautiful as more people, more events, more times come about, that it becomes larger and larger. Then you have to add more volumes, and it finally becomes just this massive, precious thing over the course of somebody or somebody's lifetimes. And that is our goal. We want to add people to the Lamb's Book of Life. We want to add their name and their picture to Jesus's book. And that can only happen if they become a member of the family, and that can only happen through the invitation of God. But He uses us. We are the instruments by which He makes that plea to the prisoners and those in the darkness. So time is a finite resource, and one that we are running out of every day. We need to recognize that we're running out of time every day and have an urgency about us by making this invitation that we are commissioned by God to make. He is, in fact, the one who gave us this mission. He equipped us for this mission. He gave us the power and authority to do this mission, and it is for us to make room in the family for others, and to make room for even the most lost of the lost, because God doesn't think of it in terms of grades of loss. There's just family members and not family members, and it's our job in our time here to grow the family as much as we can. He delights greatly in every new addition to the family. So listen, brothers and sisters, go out there and be what God intended you to be. Do the job that God intended you to do, and make room for others in our family. I love you. I'll talk to you next time.